What if you already qualify for Canadian citizenship and you do not even know it yet? Millions of Americans may be eligible for a Canadian passport right now because of a law that quietly went into effect in December 2025. And immigration lawyers on both sides of the border are already completely overwhelmed with applications. This is not a rumor. This is not social media speculation. This is a real official change to Canada's citizenship law that could open the door to a second citizenship for you, your children, and your entire family. Based on ancestry you may already have in your bloodline. Stay with me for the next few minutes because this could be the most important immigration update you hear all year. Welcome to Canada Pathway Immigration, the channel dedicated to helping Americans and immigrants around the world understand every legal pathway to Canadian residency and citizenship. If you are new here, hit that subscribe button right now and turn on the bell notification because we cover Canadian immigration updates every single week, and this is exactly the kind of life-changing information you cannot afford to miss. Now let us get into everything you need to know about this historic change. On December 15th, 2025, Canada officially changed its citizenship law in a way that has not been seen in decades. And the scope of who this affects is enormous. To understand just how significant this is, you first need to understand what the old rule was, because the contrast makes this change truly remarkable. Under the previous law, Canadian citizenship could only be passed down one generation. That means if your parent was Canadian, you could potentially claim citizenship. But if it was your grandparent, your great-grandparent, or anyone further back in your family tree, well, you were out of luck. The law simply did not go that far. Millions of people with genuine Canadian ancestry were completely locked out. The new law changes all of that. As of December 15th, 2025, Canada now allows citizenship to be claimed by anyone who can prove Canadian ancestry anywhere in their bloodline. Not just one generation back, but 2 generations, 3 generations, or even further. Your great-grandparent being Canadian could now be your ticket to a Canadian passport. The key requirement is this: you must be able to prove that the Canadian ancestor in your family line became a Canadian citizen on or after January 1st, 1947. There is one important provincial exception. If your ancestor was from Newfoundland and Labrador, that province did not join Canada until April 1st, 1949, so that date applies specifically to Newfoundland ancestry. Now, before we go any further, there's something very important that needs to be addressed directly, because social media has been filled with misleading claims about this law. You may have seen posts or videos saying that celebrities like Beyoncé, Timothée Chalamet, or Madonna could automatically become Canadian citizens because of some distant Canadian relative. That is not how this works. Canada's new law does not grant automatic citizenship to anyone simply because they have Canadian blood somewhere in their family history. There is no automatic process. There is no shortcut. Every single applicant must go through an official application, submit documented proof of their ancestry through every generation connecting them to their Canadian ancestor, and meet all of the legal requirements set out by the government. If anyone is telling you otherwise, they are misinformed. Or worse, they are trying to sell you something. So what does the actual process look like? The application you are filing is called a Proof of Citizenship application. The government fee for this application is 75 Canadian dollars, which converts to roughly 55 US dollars at current exchange rates. That is the official government portion of the cost, and by itself it is quite affordable. However, the reality for most applicants is that the total cost will be significantly higher. Here is why. To successfully claim citizenship through ancestry, you must provide official documents proving that your ancestor was Canadian under the legal definition, and then you must document every single generation between that ancestor and yourself. Depending on how far back your Canadian connection goes, this could require birth certificates, marriage records, naturalization papers, and other historical documents spanning multiple decades or even over a century. Most applicants will need professional help to trace their family history and gather the right documents. That means hiring an immigration lawyer, a genealogist, or another qualified expert. And that professional help can cost thousands of dollars on top of the government filing fee. This is not meant to discourage you, like it is simply the honest picture so you can plan and budget appropriately. The investment may be absolutely worth it depending on your personal situation, your career goals, and what Canadian citizenship would mean for your future. But go in with your eyes open about what the full process involves. On the timeline side, the Canadian government's official website states that the process currently takes approximately 10 months from the time you submit your application to the time a decision is made. And right now, there are already more than 56,000 people in the queue waiting for a decision. That number is growing every week as more Americans become aware of this change, and immigration lawyers on both sides of the border continue to report surges in new inquiries. The message is clear. If you believe you may qualify, the sooner you begin gathering your documents and starting the process, the better. Every week you wait is another week added to an already lengthy timeline. Now, let us talk about why Canada made this change. Because understanding the motivation behind the law helps you understand just how serious and long-term this opportunity is. Canada has been actively trying to grow its population through immigration for many years. The country needs workers, it needs professionals, and it needs people who can contribute to an economy that has significant labor shortages in key sectors. Provincial governments across Canada have already made public statements welcoming medical professionals, healthcare workers, and specialists in several other fields from the United States. In many cases, licensing and credential recognition between the two countries is already very close, meaning that qualified American professionals can often begin working in Canada much faster than professionals coming from other parts of the world. It is also worth noting the broader context that makes this moment particularly significant for Americans. Right now, pathways to U.S. citizenship are becoming more restricted, not less. The immigration environment in the United States is tightening in ways that many people feel directly every day. Canada, by contrast, is opening doors. Not recklessly, the Canadian government did scale back some of its broader immigration targets, after criticism that previous numbers were too high for the country's infrastructure to absorb quickly. But the direction is still fundamentally open and welcoming, especially toward Americans who already have cultural familiarity, geographic proximity, and now potentially legal ancestral ties to Canada. Canadians themselves have been largely positive about the change. While the story has not received enormous media attention inside Canada itself, most of the coverage has come from the United States side. The general sentiment among Canadians who are aware of the law is welcoming. Many Canadians have relatives in the United States who, before this change, had no legal pathway to Canadian citizenship despite having Canadian ancestry. This law creates the possibility of reuniting families across the border and strengthening the already deep ties between the two countries. If you have Canadian relatives who have been hoping you could one day join them, this may be the law that makes that possible. Let us bring everything together. Canada's new citizenship law, which came into effect on December 15th, 2025, allows Americans and others around the world to claim Canadian citizenship based on ancestry going back multiple generations, not just one. Your great-grandparent or even earlier ancestors being Canadian could qualify you. The government application fee is 75 Canadian dollars, but professional help to trace your genealogy could add thousands. The process currently takes around 10 months, and more than 56,000 people are already in line. There is no automatic citizenship. Every applicant must prove their ancestry with official documents through every generation. If you think you might have Canadian ancestry somewhere in your family tree, do not wait. Start researching. Talk to a qualified immigration lawyer or genealogist. The window is open right now, and the demand is already high. The sooner you start, the sooner you could be holding a Canadian passport in your hands. If this video gave you something to think about, hit that like button and share it with someone in your family who might qualify, because one share could change someone's entire future. Drop a comment below and tell us, do you have Canadian ancestry? Are you thinking about exploring this option? We read every comment on this channel. And if you have not subscribed to Canada Pathway Immigration yet, do it right now and turn on the bell notification so you never miss an update.